to the K.
To the K.
To the K.
Happy 4th of July. It is Independence Day. We are themed for the occasion.
Happy Carl Appreciation Day.
Well, yeah, that's the real holiday here, right? But just as we're talking about America, we're going to bring it back over to the UK to talk quids in the bank, mate.
Fucking dosh in the case.
Dosh in the case. I know, yeah. Do we call it is it a briefcase? Do we call it something else over here? Is it just a
No, I
briefcase?
think it might be a briefcase,
Okay.
yeah.
That's
an interesting point you make, Carl.
Yeah. Fun educational, as you say. But we got to see it in person at a reasonable hour.
We did.
Very rare. There's only WrestleMania, the Rumble, Saudi events, and we never get stuff over here in the UK. And we got to see it at a normal time.
Exactly. It's going to become more of a thing now. We had Cardiff. We've had this.
We're definitely getting WrestleMania.
Definitely 100%
Right.
getting WrestleMania,
Right.
according to John Cena.
So
Yeah, it was good. It was a good
Let's,
pay-per-view, man. A good pay-per-view all around. Let's discuss it a little.
let's discuss it. Let's try and remember what happened. So we kicked off the night with the men's Money in the Bank. Surprising,
I'm
actually.
pleased with this decision. I don't even think it was my prediction, but I'm so happy it wasn't my prediction because I so wanted this. I mean, there's other elements I wanted which we'll discuss, but so happy that this was the payoff. I really
So many people are so upset that LA Knight did not get the win here. I ain't,
Yeah.
to be
Nah,
honest.
Me neither.
I mean, to be fair, we'll come on to it when we talk about the main event, but you had a fantastic theory for what could happen in this. And it didn't happen at the event. That doesn't mean we might not see something similar still.
Speaking of theories,
down the line.
where's Austin these days?
That's a very good point.
Okay.
I think he's doing a show. He's on his ranch. Oh, Theory. Yeah, so. But yeah, match-wise, I thought it was really good. Logan Paul,
Match.
give him his props, man. Give him his props.
We'll give him his prime.
Hey. You know what? It was funny because we said, like, someone threw a bottle, didn't realise.
It was
KSI.
KSI.
Of course it was.
Yeah, it was funny.
But yeah, to be honest, every time we see him, he over-delivers, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's so good.
He was willing to bust himself on them ladders, man.
Yeah. Oh, man, he's got, like, a pretty gnarly, laceration. Big word.
A cut.
Yeah.
A boo-boo.
Got a boo-boo on his arm. But that spot with Ricochet was dangerous. Remember?
Dangerous.
Dangerous.
Yes.
It was
Yes.
scary stuff, man.
Well, trouble is they didn't quite... I feel like the move happened before Logan managed to get his foot in properly.
Yeah.
And it was scary that for a sec.
It's a big ask for someone in, like, their first ladder match to be like, then you're also going to do a spot where you have to try and catch yourself on the ropes and then springboard. It's like, that's a lot.
Yeah. And also, we're going to set the ladder on fire.
Yeah. He's just like, okay, more money for me. But yeah, I thought it was really, really good. I didn't actually see, don't think they showed anything at the event. I saw something on social media. Wasn't there meant to be like an altercation backstage between Ricochet and Logan Paul that they're going to try and build into some kind of feud or something? They started beating each other up backstage.
They can if they want to. I guess.
So that seems odd.
That wasn't on the pay-per-view at the time, but like you say, may have been on socials or whatever. I mean, is anyone begging for a Ricochet Logan Paul feud?
Yeah, not really. It's because they can both do crazy flippy shit, and they loved it that time when they smashed each other in the ring. That's a whole different thing.
When they just went.
Yeah, that's how you describe it. Go on, you have to do the full thing because the upside down. But yeah, so let's stop skating around the issue, shall we? Damian
fucking Priest.
Mr. Money in the Bank, and
what did he call himself?
some.
Trying to get you to speak Spanish.
What was it? What did he call himself? Damn it, that's gonna do my head in so much.
If you know, please write in the PO box. Sorry, go on.
I'm just gonna remember this halfway through and be like, but yeah, right choice, I think.
Yeah, it was a choice I did not think they were going to make, but he so deserves this. They can do a lot more with this. LA Knight is not going to suffer from this. He's going to get his opportunities regardless.
Yeah. Well, Triple H said
for Damian.
Triple H said in the post match, although, you know, if you believe what Triple H says in these things about the Cody story, it's all part of the journey, really. But he's basically saying good things come to those who wait in regards to LA Knight. So we'll see if that proves to be the case. But
I mean, how much longer is he going to wait?
Well,
I'm 60, Trips. Come on,
soon. But yeah, so I thought it was going to be Logan Paul. It was not. I think you voted LA Knight, even though you wanted it to be Priest.
I did want it to be Priest, but so, yeah, I was expecting.
Worth calling out from a prediction series standpoint. I bombed. I got 2. You got 3. It was not good.
I mean, I was just where I normally live. Yeah. You know,
you
nice
were
to see you
in comfort. Yeah, I was down in the squalors. But yeah, so Damian Priest, and I'm excited to see what happens now. I'm pretty sure he won't go after Roman. I'm pretty sure it'll be Seth. That seems to be where they're going with it. But
yeah, that's what it should be. That's the feud. Although him versus Roman, I would not be upset with.
Well, yeah, me neither. But you sprinkle in a little bit of extra Finn Balor in there.
You throw Finn Balor in the mix.
Chances drastic. Stay the same.
yeah, not much happens.
Yeah. So we moved on to the next match of the night, and what a surprise this was. So we said beforehand we didn't think the tag titles were gonna hot potato.
Again, another reason we really failed this time on the predictions.
But I mean, don't get me wrong, this was wonderful news. Made up for Liz and Raquel. Liv.
Good old Liz.
I was looking at the Union Jack.
Good old Liz. Right, Lizzie.
My patriotism got in there. Right, Liz. But yeah, great news for Liv and Raquel to be champs again. But in the fashion that it happened in was a shock to all of us, let's be fair. Shayna Baszler turns out Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, because normally they do that after they lose.
Yeah, not in the middle of a tag title match.
Like, just don't have the match then? Jeez.
Yeah. Which, to be fair, I don't normally agree with Ronda Rousey on a lot of stuff, but that was ultimately what she said in her promo on Raw. Was like, well, you doing?
What bugs me with it is it kind of takes away a little bit, doesn't it? Like, they didn't legitimately win the tag titles.
Yeah.
Which is a bit shit, isn't it?
That is a shame. But what's also more annoying is they had Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, or whatever they're called.
Who I think should have won against.
Well, so they had that unification match, and they got essentially squashed.
And then they were like, here you go.
Yeah, and it's like, really? Did that need to happen? So
unless they're going to build to a feud between them now, because let's face it, this is the start of a story if Isla Dawn and the other one, if they come out now and go, well, I'm not being funny, but you didn't fucking win.
Well, yeah.
Probably a better promo than I've just done.
That's
not being funny, but you didn't fucking win, did you, mate?
No, yeah, we could do something like that, couldn't we? They could be heels and go against them. I think the women's tag division is very thin. It has continued to be thin for quite a while now. So we need to see.
In some ways, it's very thin.
So we need to see some good stuff happening very soon, I think. But yeah, made up for Liv and Raquel.
Old Liz Morgan.
Yeah, good old Lizzie M. So following on from this, we had Gunther taking on Riddle. Pretty much went down as we expected.
All beat down.
It was.
Let's face it, nobody wanted Riddle to win this. Gunther's just an absolute monster. Yeah. And he beat the piss out of this. Honestly, actually not as decisively as I was expecting.
No, Riddle
had a good back and forth, really.
He had a good start, Riddle, didn't he? He was doing a lot of kicks and a lot of punches.
I mean, I'm nothing against Riddle, but I wanted it to just be like Gunther just fucking chopping him everywhere.
Could you imagine after the run Gunther's had for him to just lose right before he breaks Honky Tonk Man's record to Riddle?
Yeah, it would have been a weird choice to make. So I suppose the decision was obvious in that sense, but a lot more of a competitive match than I expected. Is all I'll say.
I talk a lot about predictability because, like, for me, AEW is very predictable, and you can see that in the prediction series results. This was one of the only matches I thought was a given. It was so predictable, it didn't even need to happen. And we got it right. Both of us. And that goes to show how predictable it was. But what we couldn't predict
was the sound of bagpipes. Go on.
Yeah. Sorry. I don't know why it took me so much, but yeah, we couldn't predict that. Another shirt there.
But the sound of bagpipes.
Yeah.
Honestly, have you ever been pleased by the sound of bagpipes until you became a Drew McIntyre fan? Because you get super hyped now when you hear bagpipes, which is weird.
Yeah, something happens to me.
I say it like you hear bagpipes all the time. I'm like, calm down, Cal.
I know. Is it Drew? But no, I get your points. Like, I think of bagpipes. I think of Friends. That thing. But Drew McIntyre, baby, he is back and better than ever.
So it turns out he did re-sign with WWE.
Yes.
Or if he didn't, that's a real strange choice.
Well, what was it? Was it Triple H that said it? I think it was in the presser. I think he basically said him and Drew were laughing. Like, Drew would call him up and be like, "Have you seen what they're saying now?" kind of thing. So apparently it was never in doubt. It wasn't like it was just.
I'm glad to hear that because I thought after his journey back, he's a WWE guy.
Yeah.
I was very surprised to hear that it was in jeopardy.
Yeah.
But to be fair, he added some fuel to that fire. So the fact that he's like,
I think
have you seen what they're saying? And I was like, you made it seem like that?
Yeah. Anyway. I think we said I don't think he would have been used correctly anywhere else, to be fair. Like, look at Claudio. Like, he wasn't used very well in WWE, but he's gone. Look at him. But when he's gone to AEW, obviously he's the Ring of Honor champ, which is cool. But it's like, doesn't really fit into the mix properly in AEW. I feel like that would happen to Drew. He'd be kind of lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, agreed.
So I think this is where he belongs. Him and Gunther, let's be honest, is going to be fire. It always is. So I don't think he's going to defeat him, though, unless it goes past the Honky Tonk Man.
You like chops?
Oh, I do. But yeah, unless... I don't know what number of days he's on now, Gunther, but unless SummerSlam takes place after he's already beaten
easily more than 7.
Yes. Yeah, I can't see him dropping it until he's beat that reign. So depending on when that happens. Drew obviously is as good of a challenger as anyone, and Gunther probably needs to start thinking about that main event scene. But
yeah,
it all depends on what they're gonna do. Like, would you be happy if Gunther drops the IC title ahead of Royal Rumble and we get Roman versus Gunther at the Rumble, but then Gunther loses? Because it's going to be about Cody, right? So it's like,
until they fuck off with what they need to do with Cody,
yeah,
who is telling a long-term story, I promise.
Yeah.
I'll get on
Finish
to that.
The story. I've been asleep now. The story put me to sleep for like the last few months, but
like, what part? No, you know what? I'll moan about it when we get there.
Okay. But yeah, match-wise, pretty much as expected. But the return of Drew, awesome. So glad he's back, and awesome to see him in a feud with Gunther over the IC title. Which takes us on to go on.
Good.
There we go. You
Right.
rant away, baby.
Right, okay, look, here's the thing. I know a lot of people love Cody, and I want to see Cody finish the story as well. What I don't want to see is Cody just taking on a series of fucking side quests and then trying to claim that it's part of finishing the story. I mentioned this to you before we went on the air, as it were, about this. Like, people even defending Cody in the comments, like, this week, not going away from Money in the Bank, but obviously he had this random pairing with Dominik, because Dominik's popular, so, you know, Cody wants to be on TV, why not pair up with Dominik? And now we've got this week on Raw is like Cody's going to go for Seth, even though he quite publicly said in the post premium live event scrum that just doesn't have the same ring to it. Even though he blatantly said in that finishing the story wouldn't be going for that title because that title's wank. I think that's how we put it. And they're still trying to hint at the whole Seth thing. And then Brock Lesnar comes out and it's like, oh yeah, I'm still fearing. I'm like, okay, right, this isn't long-term storytelling. No one's gonna convince me otherwise of this. Like, this is what I saw on social media. Is like people like, just enjoy the ride. This is long-term storytelling. You can't just put the belt on them straight away. It's like, this isn't long-term storytelling.
It's hard to enjoy the ride when you're flying by the seat of your pants. This
is storytelling by someone who's got zero attention span. Imagine this story like plotted out. Somebody's actually sat in the writing room going, right, what's gonna happen is he's gonna come back, right, and then he's gonna go to WrestleMania. He's gonna fight Roman Reigns, but he's gonna lose. And then what's gonna happen is he's then gonna try and team up with Brock Lesnar, but then Brock Lesnar's gonna betray him, and then they're gonna have a match, and then he's gonna totally forget about that, and then he's gonna have a match with Dominik, but then Brock's gonna come back. Like, who wrote this? This isn't a fucking story.
No.
This is random shit because they don't want to pull the trigger yet. This is what this is.
Yeah, of course it's filler. Filler of the fucking highest
and
order.
I'm all for a filler, right? They want to pull the trigger on Cody at the right time. I'm all for that. But don't try and convince me that this is all part of the story, because that's just some bullshit.
No. All filler, no killer, unfortunately. As you say, there's no way this was the long-term plan. He talks about fucking the excursion that he took. This is a whole fucking detour in its own right. Why would he fight Dominik Mysterio? Yeah. He's a guy who's trying to go for the fucking title. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, yeah. So
I'm just imagine any other scenario. It's like, hold on, I'm just gonna take a slight, break from going for the title to beat up a kid.
Yeah.
Like, imagine any other scenario where that sounds right from the face of the company.
Yeah. Kind of get your point. But yeah, look, so this was a nothing match. I actually got this wrong because I thought Brock was coming back in this match,
which would have made better sense. Other than going, oh, Cody and Dominik are gonna have a match, and Cody's clearly gonna win because that was always gonna happen. Like,
I should have known.
Well, okay then.
I should have known that Brock doesn't like to travel, so why would he have ever been in the UK anyway? Like, silly me. But
that's true.
I got that wrong. But we knew.
Fuck no, I'm on my ranch.
We knew. I know, yeah. Travel on a shitty plane or be cuddled up in my lovely ranch with Sabre.
I don't think he'd let him on planes anymore.
Yeah.
He breaks them.
Yeah, there is that. So, yeah, this match just did not need to happen at all. But ultimately, we've ended up where we knew we were going to end up with Brock being back. That's clearly where we're going at SummerSlam. Where do you go from here is the question.
Oh, yeah. So if you really wanted to see Brock versus Cody 2...
3.
We're 3. We're on 3 already?
3.
Ah, fuck's sake.
Because Cody won the first one, didn't he? And then the second one was Brock, wasn't it? He lost.
I didn't
because
even know
he didn't give
I
up.
thought we had one.
Remember, he had him in the Kimura. He didn't give up, and it was like that shit finish. So now we're gonna get
That's a Cody finish.
Get the rubber match with this. So yeah,
and I don't want to dislike Cody, but fuck,
he doesn't make it. He doesn't make it easy, does he?
And enjoy.
It's a shame. Like I think we'll both agree. In the run up to Mania, he was white hot. We were like, yeah, let's make it happen. Right. He should do it. But it's just completely fell off.
Eventually, he's going to feel sorry for himself when the crowd turn on him because they're fucking sick of waiting.
Yeah. I kind of understand it though as well, because when he wins that belt, he's fucked. He is. Because once he's the champ, straight away he's going to have to go heel. You know he will. Because if he comes out there going, I'm just here in my Gucci shoes, smoking my cigars with my world, people will go, oh, fuck you. But
my belt's almost as big as my Rolex, so that kind of bullshit. I don't know what
you were going to say.
Hey!
But, yeah, so he's screwed, so I can get why they're trying to, extend it for as much as they can, but
imagine, let's be honest though, it's also very likely that they'll pull the trigger on Cody, he'll win the belt, they'll insist on trying to keep him face because they've got a history for that, right? And then they'll pull the trigger on LA Knight. LA Knight will go up against Cody, but they'll want Cody to be the face in that scenario, and the whole crowd's going to be like, nah, we're behind LA Knight. And then you're going to get Michael Cole, Tone Deaf Cunt, go, oh, sometimes they boo the wrong people.
Yeah. Well, the fans are really excited tonight, or whatever. Well, yeah, something like that's going to happen. LA Knight's going to be the fucking Daniel Bryan of 2023, isn't he? Let's be fair. Everyone's going to... That's going to happen at the Rumble or whatever. Could you imagine if this is the way they finish the story? Well, so the way we finish the story is we repeat the exact same thing as last year. Cody Rhodes wins the Rumble, goes on to face Roman Reigns, only this time he wins at WrestleMania.
Another little pet peeve I had with Roman is like how easy they find it to win Rumbles, so they can't have him win the fucking Rumble again. That pissed me right off.
Yeah.
Although most things do.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was a match. It happens. Didn't need to. Damn squib. Speaking of things which you didn't expect to happen.
I really don't understand the need for this.
Yeah, just Grayson Waller stood there by himself.
And it's like especially after the fact, and we've talked about this, I think, on the news, but when we were on BBC News, like the Grayson Waller inclusion totally puzzles me. I get that they're trying to put the guy.
Is that
over.
Second show?
The Grayson Waller inclusion, love it. That puzzles me in itself. For what the moment was meant to be, I didn't understand why he'd come out, especially because it's clearly not leading to anything.
No,
they're not booking a match here.
No, I think Cena's just at that stage where he's like, if I'm going to be used, then at least give me the opportunity to get in there.
You're going to use me.
Give me the opportunity to get in there with people who are younger talent.
With someone young and fresh.
Yeah, so obviously,
all right, John.
Waller, Theory, I can't remember who was in there with before that, but he's at a point now where he's just trying to get back where he can and give the younger stars the rub, isn't he? So,
but the trouble is, while he's trying to rub younger stars, right, the whole point he came out for was to hint
Five knuckles shop.
The whole point of him coming out apparently was to hype up WrestleMania UK, which apparently was we didn't expect him to say that. Yeah. That's just maybe won't.
By all accounts, isn't happening. So
that's some bullshit though. That is some there's no way they didn't know he was going to talk about that.
I don't know.
I'm gonna lie. But I really don't get the point of this segment. John, he was a good hype man. Come out to hype up something that apparently may not happen.
Though.
But what was the point in Grayson at all?
Maybe Triple H said to him, so what do you want to talk about? And he's like, haha, good Cody impression. And just walked out and he's like, no, fuck.
Damn it.
Like, what is he doing talking about WrestleMania? So, you never know. But, yeah, obviously nice to see John. I think for anybody in attendance, like, how cool is that? Just random seeing John Cena show up in the UK. So, yeah, kind of understand what they were doing, what they were going for. But why did I look about 10 feet tall? I need to stop moving forward while you're leaning back.
What are you rocking for?
Women's Money in the Bank. The most creative finish to a Money in the Bank we've ever seen.
Like, that's the thing. Like, I'm going to get me slight negativity out of the way here. So I'm going to say this, right? Overall, not the best match ever.
No.
But luckily, I think people are going to remember this finish. And they may go, I've heard comments of like, oh, it's the best women's Money in the Bank ever. It's like, it wasn't. I would agree with you if you said it's the best finish ever.
Yeah.
But not the best overall Money in the Bank. The match was not like fantastic, but that finish was that's going to go down in the future like clips of like iconic moments. That's going to be there. You know what I
mean, fans are fickle, so we've already seen some fans going, "That's the best Money in the Bank that's ever been," which it wasn't. Right?
No.
Let's be fair. This was a bit clumsy at times. It was a bit sloppy at times, which is a shame because I rate all of them that were in there super highly. That being said,
the ladder fell off the ropes and they had to put it back because they knew what the spot was going to be next.
Yeah,
things like that. Yeah, which these things happen. I understand you've got to correct it.
Yeah, you've still got to be safe. You've got to do it the right way.
Let's not look after the fact and go, "Oh, this was just the best match ever." It's like, no, it wasn't seamless.
No, there was some unfortunate things that happened. There was some cool stuff as well. Zelina Vega's like sunset powerbomb thing was cool.
And again, they went for it.
Props to Trish, first ever ladder match she's ever had the opportunity to be involved in. Busted her face up, but.
And now she's back in the match.
Yeah, nice throwback.
I'll be honest though, and again, I'll get the negativity out of the way before we talk about the iconic moments. Absolute cringiest moment was Bayley having to put the handcuffs back in her mouth herself.
Yeah,
she should have just let it go, man.
Yeah,
just having to watch her go.
It's hard though, because you don't expect the cameraman to be like.
I mean, to be fair,
capture this.
That's probably the issue, isn't it? They're in the ring trying to do their job. The cameraman should have done his job and not fucking pan to her trying to put the fucking handcuff back.
Yeah,
or whatever.
Stuff like that's out of their control, isn't it? But the finish, man, so good, so creative. When those handcuffs came out and stuff, you were like, "Oh, someone's going to be handcuffed to the ring post." Like I was like,
the typical like
Becky,
stuck on the rope,
she can't get in the ring, and it was like I never expected the two of them to be climbing up, and then all of a sudden handcuffed to each other to the point where they can't. They're stuck.
Yeah,
you can't even get it. It was like that's and then Io literally climbing over a tag team partner.
What a push for Io, like because they clearly want to pull the trigger on her. She's now the Money in the Bank holder.
Yeah,
what do you call it?
Yeah, that's fair.
And I don't know what they're going to do with it.
Well, yeah,
but
I mean, so
it's going to be an interesting one.
I thought it was going to be Becky. I think a lot of people in the production series went with Io, so obviously they are more, they saw something more than I did. I guess with this, where does she go? That is the question. We get it?
Surely though, they're not going to try and put her up against Rhea at this point. Rhea's white hot.
Well, like you'll get the whole like fucking like, oh well, of course you'll say that because like they're both Japanese, but like, Asuka. That could be awesome.
Yeah.
But then, where do you leave Damage Control? It feels like you have to have that split up first, and then she has to just rock up randomly on SmackDown and win the belt.
I dare say, though, I think this is one of them things where she's going to have that belt, that briefcase for a while. At least half a year. Because right now, you can't pull a trigger on either. I don't want it to be an unsuccessful cash-in. Right? I know sometimes they have to happen. I don't want it to be an unsuccessful cash-in. But Asuka needs a bit of a run, and Rhea is just white hot at the minute, so you can't really pull a trigger either way.
I don't think Asuka's going to get a run.
You really?
They always shit on her, unfortunately, don't they? She's had, the title a couple of times now, but I don't think she's ever had. This is like an amazing run with it. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Her runs and his like streak and success has always been without the belt usually.
Yeah,
but
fair.
Also with the women's Money in the Bank, typically they're cashing in. Like, I'm surprised if she's not unless it happens on SmackDown this week. Like, I'm surprised they haven't cashed in already because for whatever reason for the women they don't like to have.
I mean, this could be the time to have it for a while as well.
Yeah,
if you could even do the because they haven't officially split up Damage Control. You could do with her being a bit big for the boots in Damage Control, being the Money in the Bank holder, and Bayley getting a bit of resentful with that, and then ultimately building to them to having a match before you even do the cash in. There's no reason to pull the trigger now.
At the press conference, they were both there saying, like, Bayley was like, no, there's no hard feelings, like Damage Control have the briefcase, and they were like acting as though they had it together and he was sharing it. So something's definitely going to go on there.
And that's the thing. And if Bayley's like, well, I'm going to cash in, it's like almost like free bed rules in a way. Like that'll be like, I don't know. There's a dynamic there for that feud, isn't it? Because you can't just split them up and go, well, we've all gone our separate ways now.
Well, exactly.
So let's not cash it in just yet.
No, and I agree. There's a story to be told there, and hopefully they get the time to do it, and end it the right way with Damage Control. But
see, this is a story to be told.
Finish the story, Io.
Not random fucking matches and trying to, stitch them together as a story.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No,
I'll let it go eventually.
Which takes us to the co-main event, which was the WWE World Heavyweight Championship on the line.
I ruined this for myself.
Okay.
Objectively,
to be fair, you had a masterful master stroke of booking, didn't you? So
I had a stroke. I ruined this for myself because I decided something was going to happen while we were watching it, especially after men's Money in the Bank, and then they teased that might happen, and then it didn't happen. So I want to say right now, objectively, this was a very good match. They're both very good in the ring. They both performed really well. It was entertaining.
Yes.
However, I did decide that Damian Priest was going to cash in. I weren't sure how. I actually thought, and I said to you, this would be my favourite finish, just from almost a tongue-in-cheek point of view of having Finn win the belt and then get cashed in on and hold it for a shorter time than he previously did.
Would have been so good.
I kind of wanted that for almost like a tongue-in-cheek, like,
Yeah.
You know, obviously you have to pay that back at some point for Finn and say, oh, you will get a run eventually. But that would have been a cool moment for me.
Yeah.
I would have enjoyed that. I think it would have been an iconic moment of because let's face it, no one's going to beat the heist of the century.
No,
this would have been up there with a really cool cash in. You're never going to beat the heist of the century, but this would have been up there, wouldn't it? You go, iconic cash ins would have been this, and sadly they didn't do it. But they hinted at it. He stood up and ruined the match for him, which was kind of stupid.
Well, that's what I don't get. So they're clearly going that way, aren't they? But they just didn't pull the trigger on it. So Damian was at ringside, kind of went to move forward, distracted Finn, and then Seth got the win. And then they kind of, confront each other after the match. And then on Raw, we see a similar thing where Finn comes back and gets involved in Damian's match. And it's like, what he's doing?
Yeah.
Just what are you doing? Yeah. So I don't really understand what the end goal is with this, but that just would have been brilliant if they would have done that. As soon as you said that idea to me, I was like, oh, that has to be done. That is going to be so cool.
Should have been the icing on the cake for me. But because of that, I kind of ruined the match for myself. So I'm aware of my own feelings. So I don't want to say this was a bad match. I'm aware that I come out of it disappointed. But that's because I made decisions in my own head. The match objectively was really good. Yeah,
good match. I think until you kind of came up with that idea, I was like, nah, Seth winning this, no problem. I would have accepted it if it was. I didn't want Seth to be Finn to be the champ. You know what I mean? So I was like, if Finn wins it and then Damian turns on him or something, that would be awesome. But ultimately, I wanted Seth to win. Seth wins, and interesting to see.
Given the way the match pans out, right choice.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the fact that they almost suggested that basically Finn was going to have this? If it weren't for Damian, he would have had this. So it's not necessarily like a clear victory for Seth.
Yeah, not great. I think at a time when he's proven he deserves to be that champ, and he's had to go through a lot of shit, hasn't he, to get to this point. And then now it's like, well, really?
Yeah, well, you never lost it.
You would have lost it, wasn't it? It's like,
yeah.
So, yeah, I think Seth needs a bit more respect on his name still, and to have that belt for a bit of time. But we will see. But we will talk about the main event.
What a match.
Put your favourite picture in there, because you love when they do the wear the wands thing.
But there's two wands. Two wands make two.
Yeah, so they're the wands.
But no, it doesn't work like that. It's a two. They're a big two.
Big steaming. Number two.
Fantastic fucking match.
So good.
I was hooked on this whole match start to finish. I loved every part of it, even like the false finishes. I don't think they didn't really do too many finisher spams, which is unusual for Roman. I don't feel like we saw a ridiculous amount of Superman punches or spears.
A lot of super kicks, but he always gets a lot of super kicks with the Usos.
I don't mind a super kick, I'll be honest. Like, it doesn't grate on me as much as like Superman punch and then another Superman punch and then another Superman. I don't know. That seems to bug me more
because it's a shit move, though. Isn't
Probably that. Which is a comment I made to you at the time. Actually, we were watching it. That I think the drive by is actually better.
Yeah, I agree.
I like the drive by. I know you can't really call it a finisher.
I like a good drive by.
But no, I know you can't really make it a finisher, but I like that as a move. It even demonstrates a little bit of athleticism from Roman there. He's clearly athletic, but going doesn't really show that. Doesn't really demonstrate that. For those who are listening, I did the Superman punch.
For a guy who is as over as he is, like, to have the lamest of lame with the Superman punch and then the lamest taunt of all time where he just looks like he's fisting a cow, right? It's not great. But somehow manages to make it work.
They call it fisticuffs for a reason.
Hey.
But yeah. And even his submission is a better finisher.
Yeah. No,
I'll be honest. I just need him to drop the Superman punch. Shit.
Yeah.
But anyway, the overall match, fantastic.
Storytelling was great, wasn't it?
It really was.
As with everything in the bloodline, the whole situation. I mentioned, I'm not sure if it was in the news or just us talking off air, but I loved the part, which a lot of people haven't picked up on too much, but we kind of noticed at the time, is when Roman can't get the pin, when he stacks him. He smashes him and stacks him, and he tries to pin them. They kick out, and he's like, he doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, he's kind of just lost.
And it's like, but you're the head, you're our tribal chief. Yeah. How can you?
You're a leader.
How can you just give up and not know what you like? You're meant to be the one in charge. And Solo basically goes, well, all right, well, fuck, this is what we're doing. and takes command, and you're like, ooh, shit. So now that we know the trial of did we even say the finish? Usos won.
Usos won.
Again, we don't know why you'd be listening to this.
Loss.
If you haven't seen it.
His first loss in 3 years.
Yes, a clean loss for people. So apparently we said in the news last week, didn't we, that there's what was the news headline? It was like two disruptive, what the fuck was it? It was like two different ideas being picked, destructive. It was something beginning with the D. We want the D.
But like, some very
two ideas being pitched.
Yeah, very radical ideas.
Yeah, and we were like, ooh, but this was it. Apparently, the fact that people didn't want Roman to lose clean, or even lose.
Or they want because it's like they gave Roman the pin. Yeah, it wasn't we pinned Solo and you lost.
Yeah,
Roman took that pin.
Roman took the pin. He took the pin clean. So that was and he's not been pinned.
Quite decisively. Like
drastic.
He took a pin. Drastic. That was the word.
Drastic.
Our word of the day is drastic.
So, yeah, pretty drastic. And you can see why people internally, some were for it, some were against it. But I also saw a nice little, anyone who, likes these kind of things. I think there was a post on Twitter. You could see Roman mouth, "I love you" to Jay when he takes the pin. It's like, aww. Family, you know? But, yeah, Roman takes the pin, takes the loss, and he then spends his time after the loss on the outside of the ring, just basically losing his shit and crying. Yeah. And it's kind of like...
Honestly, like, solid. I know he's trying to break into the world of acting. Solid acting from Roman there. He fully looked like he lost it.
He ain't no Jey Uso, but he's pretty good. You know what I mean? Jey Uso is fucking, like, Academy Award nominee. He has to be. Fucking best actor in the biz.
He'd probably break Hollywood if he could stop saying "oos" at the end of every sentence.
That is true. But yeah, like... The storytelling on this was fantastic, and now we're going to follow this up with the tribal court. Is it what they're calling it?
I think
the trial of the tribal chief.
I think they're naming it the trial of the tribal chief. Yeah. But it is tribal court.
Yeah. Which I just can't wait. I said it before. I can't wait.
I can't remember if I said it on air, but I'll say it now. I really want Sami Zayn to rock up. I want them to bring Sami Zayn into the mix because he was like the first one to like go against the grain and identify what's going on here.
Yeah.
And I think I would love to see the Usos acknowledge the fact that Sammy was right and almost embrace the fact that, you know what, we're cool.
Yeah, you've got the Sammy side of things, you've got the Solo side of things, you've got the Paul Heyman side of things. It's like there's so much to unpack. Is it going to be Solo that goes, you know what, based on how you acted, I'm the tribal chief? Is it going to be Roman? Is it going to be Paul who goes, actually, I'm going to side with Solo and Roman? Like, he's not leaving there with more than one person by his side.
Yeah. Yeah, I get you. And just to be clear, this is storytelling.
Yes, Cody. So, yeah, fantastic stuff as always. Crazy the result, to be fair. I thought that Roman would get a win here because obviously they lost in for the tag titles, didn't they?
Yes, they
did. It was like back-to-back losses now. But obviously Roman takes the pin.
Which means that the Usos have... No, the Usos haven't. Which means that both Solo and Roman have suffered a loss, haven't they? So.
There you go. Yeah. So very exciting stuff. What a fantastic end to the Premium Live event. And the crowds, just a short mention to the crowds, were white hot throughout all of this.
And we got the return of the Hey Bailey chants.
Well, yeah.
Which it's the UK, you can't knock, can you?
Yeah. So
we also got, was it Tribal Wanker, which is another quality one.
So yeah, they were hyped all the way from beginning to end. So, you know, a good crowd makes all the difference.
And I didn't pick up on this while we were watching it. Did you hear that they were saying like I can't remember quite, I'm probably misquoting this, but they were like, basically, if you hate Roman, stand up.
Oh, right.
And they kept chanting, if you hate Roman, stand up. And apparently when they all got a little bit tired, they changed it to, if you hate Roman, sit down. That was quite funny.
Yeah, like unparalleled crowds in the UK, just from like all the footy and everything. They
brought that air of football chant to it, and I think they buzz off that atmosphere. To be honest, the wrestlers.
We love a chance.
We do like a chance.
Like, I mean, I'm just going completely off piece now, but I remember the whole Jamie Vardy, Rebecca Vardy and Colleen Rooney drama that was going on.
No.
Anyway, about like hacking into the phone and like reviewing
stuff
and all that. Yeah. But when Leicester visited Goodison Park, as Everton fans, we were like, "Oh, Jamie Vardy, your wife is a grass." And he's gonna play football. We're just all screaming at him. So yeah,
they come up with some wild chances as well. To be fair.
Oh yeah. So you can't beat it, and just made for an electric night. Fun was had. Us watching it in pit. Well, I was saying, we were watching it in together. We weren't at the
I
show.
watch most things in person.
Yeah. For now, just wait till VR gets you.
We in VR now. Who knows?
Who knows? So yeah, awesome.
Wait a minute. These walls aren't real.
Don't ruin the illusion. But yeah, fun-filled show. And let us know what you think. Obviously, we got absolutely caned in the predictions. So how did you do? Did you get these right? Was it a surprise to you? Let us know. Drop a like, leave a comment, hit subscribe. If you're listening to this, thank you always for listening to us and the liquid butter filling your ears.
Nice. That butter again.
Oh yeah. It's all about the butter. So yeah, to our American watchers and listeners, we hope you've had a awesome 4th of July.
Yeah, man. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah. What he said.
What? Did I do it wrong?
Close enough.
No. Happy 4th of July.
Yes.
And I hope you get lots of fireworks or whatever.
Indeed. So stay safe, and we will catch you on the next one.